I'm just going to talk a little bit about the chakra system, because sometimes there's a lot of information about a certain subject, which depending on which civilization you are looking at. But what I found is each different culture interacted with their environment in a conducive way into which their environment gave them. And then from that they used all the different herbs around, they looked at all the different forms and the sort of stars, and just from that you can start to see how you can start to make bigger maps. For instance, the stars never change. So that's something that's current within all different civilizations at one time, when we couldn't just have a quick call with someone or get on the internet. And the chakra system's kind of the same. Different civilizations interacted with the knowledge in different ways to come up with the same end result, and sometimes that gets lost. And this is just something that I've come across. I just thought I'd give it a bit of an explanation. Now, I forget the name of this symbol. I just looked it up, but it's one of the principal symbols in Reiki. The Kanku. So I really couldn't. Remember that. But looking at it, to me, that is an energy generator. That's what that symbol says to me. It's something that if you give a little bit of energy in, it will give a lot more energy out. It's if you get a security tag, or even pull out the tag, the NFC tag, or look at any NFC tag, you'll see that it kind of looks like this. And basically how those things work is, when you have those barriers, there's a very, very mild electronic pulse going through. When you take one of those tags through that, it's not an active piece because it's got no battery of itself, but when it goes through that tiny little pulse, the pulse hits this this configuration. All it has to do is be within the two poles, because the two poles are just doing that, like I said, that little tiny electricity. So as soon as the environment changes, this picks up on energy, whatever it's tuned to, and these are obviously tuned to the frequency that's between the two poles you get for security. And then it comes round, and then it activates the little chip on the end, which then sends a little pulse back into the system, hence alarms going off and you're being caught. But this is how they've put this in the Reiki system, which is obviously a way of energy management and managing the energy in the body, or helping promote it. It's actually what I've seen, what I can see now, is actually how you actually awaken the chakras and how you maintain them. Because yes, it's always done in a set order, but if you think about it, really in the body as well, the chakras are just the resonance created between all the different tones and vibrations that all the organs inside of you are making. That's why that's why people say, "Oh, where the chakras are, I can't see it." It's an energy form, so you can't cut someone open, or we don't have the technology to pick that up yet and visualize it. But this is just for reference, just like all of it, everything else, like even the anthropomorphization that you see in all the stories, like in some of the Panishards and stuff. It's just an anthropomorphization of an inner concept, and showing all the points just going up the spine. I think that kind of helps. And the spine is actually the conduit in which when all those tones and vibrations are activated, then go up. But this will hopefully kind of see how that works without it being linear. So your root chakra is essentially survival mode. This is what you're born into. If you're sort of person that feels threatened all the time, or that there's an enemy or someone's always trying to get you, or even can manifest as neediness, just because you need someone there to make you feel safe. This is where you are. Now, to get to the second chakra, which is that feeling of comfort and safety, so then you feel more comfortable going out to explore the world and explore yourself and meet people, and just you start to actually see what life has to offer. That's here. But you can't just jump from fear to the next state, which is that feeling of comfort. It's not that easy. What happens is the root chakra gets activated, the root chakra then resonates, and then it comes, the next resonation point would be the crown chakra, because the crown chakra is the let's put it, the more subconscious part of you, because it has to be something gradual, this height of jump. So the process of the root as it heals, or as you grow, comes to the root chakra. The root chakra controls it. Can you really maintain that? No, boom, straight back. Can you maintain that and feel that feeling? Is it not just a fleeting? No, it's not. Then you can come back round to this one. Then you can experience and explore those feelings of safety and warmth and comfort and I could say love. To then use that as a foundation to go out and explore and get to know things. This is a good time for learning. It's when you're in this sort of state, it's a good time for learning. It's actually a good time to get to understand self as well. Just to add, like, the root is red, so that's why we get those connotations of red in anger and fear. Now, sometimes this is shown as orange, but I believe it's yellow, just because, like I said, sometimes the knowledge gets compartmentalised and different people put it in different ways to try, and for me that's just a misconfiguration of the energy to try just to set a person off a little bit. But in the story of Buddha, before he became the Buddha, which is orange, because he wears orange. You wear what your inner self is humming, and the other way to express that is through the colour, because you can't walk around humming a vibration. It's the colour, so you are attracted to that colour. That's why they wear orange. Now, before he got there, he was an aesthetic. An aesthetic was, they wore yellow, and the whole aesthetic thing was to cut back, be minimalist. So they were actually going against that because they wanted to stay here. They didn't want to have to do the next jump to get to the next one. So they actually imposed that on themselves. But it was the Buddha who came along and was sat under the Bodhi tree and realised that there's gotta be a mix between all that pleasure that he experienced as a prince and the sacrifice of almost near self that he experienced in his yellow garbs as an aesthetic. So and then when the Buddha came to that realization, before Buddha came to that realization and was able to maintain it, the energies travelled up, hit the third eye. Was that just a fleeting feeling and a fleeting notion? Was that just a couple of inspiring words that you felt because you saw puppy? Yes, you go back. Then you go back to feeling this, and then you've got to try and build yourself up. And if you build yourself up again enough, and you come here, and then you realise, and then it goes through the rigours of the third eye, and everything that you've come to cement here is true. You get to come back round and get to the solar plexus chakra. This is where you are this is basically the vibration of your bowels and your intestines that make this up predominantly. But there's other reasons for that just rolls it back out. We can get into that another time. So the solar plexus. So this now is understanding, because you've now come out of a safe place. You've done all your exploring, that safety has been confirmed by the third eye. It's not just something fleeting, because it's not something external that you've put out there for someone else to make you feel. It's a safety that comes from when you wake up in the morning and go to sleep tonight. You are the control of that. Then you can go to the solar plexus, which is knowing. No, sorry, which is understanding. And understanding is that how would that manifest in the world? That's like, so you now understand parts of how your world works. It's getting money sovereignty. It's going from spending money and going more out on your credit cards than in, to getting that under control. It's even weight loss, because it's getting control of something that you always had control of, but you just didn't let your reins in, on whatever it is. So this is where you start to understand self, and this is why the Buddha came to his realization, because when you listen to the teachings that Buddha put out, it's very similar to sort of your Eckhart Tolle books, and Deepak Chopra, and I can't remember, there's a couple of guys, but anyway. But this is where they try to keep you, because it's an understanding of how everything is, but knowing that it's okay to be like that. There's control in no control. Yeah, there's control in no control. Now, this is the point where you feel the need to express that and show people around you that it's all of this out of balance that's in their life, and that they need to get control of some stuff. And once you get to that point, and you know that you could do it, and you got to that point where you want to help other people, you come all the way up to your throat chakra. Now, when you start speaking, if it comes out distorted, because the basis in which you've got here now is being tainted by the environment that you're taking in, or the media that you're taking in, when it gets to here, you can't really stand on it, because it's not something that you curated, it's something that was given to you. So you're okay here, but trying to get past this next step is really, really hard, because your heart is knowing. So to be able to get to know, you've got to at least understand what you're saying and what you're standing on. It's even better just to not stand on say anything at all, and so that you work into it, because when you do, that's when you can even get the breakthrough to get to knowing, which is the heart. And that's when you, and then from the heart, that's the resonant, that's the resonant component that makes, like, your auric field, as to call it. But it's also the main part that then sets all this apart, sets all this going. It's the mid part, Midgar, as they say. So once that's done and everything's in balance, the energies come back down, up, round, and the energies come back down, up, and you away, because then it just goes back out and coils out, and that's how you push all the energy out. That's kind of similar to why they say that the serpent of the spine, because you start out here, activate, rest, activate, rest, activate, rest, then it coils round and out. And then this is when you start to experience astral projection. Well, it's what they call activation, and the best way I can describe it is, watch that part on the film Limitless, and that film. I don't know. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this. Say those words, but there's that film where that guy takes that clear pill, and then he's just walking around. He's like, nothing happened. Then he's talking to the woman, and he just kind of dozes out, and then he looks in a bag, and everything clicks. Everything that he's ever thought, not everything that he's ever thought about, everything that his subconscious has took in, he had access to, and from that he was able to synthesize different parts from different areas in his life or timescales in his life to bring out one coherent message. And that's what being able to do all this actually does. Astral projection is what happens when you go to sleep on it, but when you're awake on it, you get that pill.